Let's see how this one goes. I've tried everything. I looked at everything. It said public. I am public. It said all the things. Everything was there. So I'm like, okay, am I going to get an email this time saying I went live? We'll wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see, because it definitely went up there, but still nothing. No one. See, there it is again. There it is. So it's definitely on my feed, but no email. So if I log out of my account and then see if it sends it over to me, it's like right at the top of my list. This is interesting. I'm wondering what's happened here. I don't know. And obviously this also means I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to speak on the thing I was going to speak on, as I mentioned in the last video. But I also, wait, am I watching? Is that me? Who's just joined the room? Hello? Or is that me? Man, I'm tripping balls, man. What the hell? I don't know if it's me there or someone else watching. I actually don't know, because I'm watching me, but I'm not actually watching the video. I'm watching the thumbnail of my video as it goes. But I don't know if that means that it counts that as a watch, because I can't hear anything. So how can I be watching if I'm not actually watching? Oh God, never mind. Forget it. I'll just think about how we'll do the stream later on with whatchamacallit. Anyway. Yeah, so I was going to mention about The Last of Us 2 and talk about that. Now, what I'm talking about is the area in which, and again, I've got to try and not spoil anything here. So really, I've got to immediately take it out of the context of the game and talk about storytelling, and talk about I wouldn't say a recent evolution in the industry of storytelling, but an evolution in my experience of storytelling. So back through common stories, usually there is a case of there are bad guys and good guys. Right? There are protagonists and antagonists. There's, that's basically it. There's a villain and a hero and maybe a victim, right? Which is the drama triangle, in fact, is based around that. The victim, the villain, and the hero, the persecutor. So the victim, the persecutor, and the hero. That's the one. There it is. The drama triangle. And so, yeah, basically films work around this. There is a bad person. They're the persecutor. Then there is the victim. And, they're caught up in something. And then there's the hero, the one that we all side with, the one that's like the good guy. And that's how we really work with it. That's been a commonality in every TV show and so on we could think of. And that's really rung true and been a very, very well-trodden path for stories to take, because it adds the drama. But what can also be a reality in storytelling is that it's kind of a reflection on our reality, in that actually in reality, you could say, yes, there are absolutely villains, and you could say, yes, there are absolutely victims. And of course, you could say there are absolutely heroes. But those three roles can interchange all the time. So a victim can become a villain, or a villain can become a victim can become a hero, and a hero can become a victim, the whole thing. So within storytelling that I've experienced more recently is that you can actually create characters where they are all three all at the same time. They are a hero, a victim, and a persecutor. And what it does is it prevents you from actually taking sides unless it's on a very, very deep level. So, for example, I watched this show recently called Little Fires Everywhere. Excuse me. And from the offset, you could argue that depending on, where you stand with things, what your belief system is, and yada, 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 you have a place upon which you stand in terms of who you're siding with. And that's fine, because actually the book is the show, at least, sorry, not the book, I didn't read the book, I watched the show, is very well produced in that it puts together this concept of everyone's can be seen as a hero or a persecutor or a victim in any of these situations, right? Everyone can be seen as these things, but based on where you view yourself in standing with said characters depends on how you frame it, right? Some people will see that person as a victim, or some people will see him as a victim, and so on and so on. You get it. But then as the story progresses, what can take place if you're willing to get there with it is that you realize that your decisions on who you've decided to be the hero in a story, who you've decided to be the persecutor in a story. I keep crossing between persecutor and villain, excuse me. So when I say villain, I mean persecutor, just to make it clear. they kind of the characters develop in a way where suddenly what could be perceived as the villain, and this crosses the board, who could be perceived as the victim in the situation, actually becomes a persecutor, but they still also maintain that of being a victim throughout. Then also at the same time they develop as heroes as well. Not all at the same time, but there's this evolution of the character where you're like, well, hang on a minute, whoa, I can't side with them now that I've learned this about them. Oh, this is weird. I don't really know how to deal with this. And this is very much something that I've only just kind of been awoken to. I'm sure people who maybe are more sophisticated of thought from a younger age probably picked up on this a long time ago in storytelling. Like I knew this a long time in human beings, but in terms of storytelling, I was so used to being able to consume this element of bad guy, good guy narrative. So in storytelling is relatively new to me. And then I heard about The Last of Us 2. And obviously I was very much connected with how it went before the game even came out and how ridiculous people responded to the whole the characters and stuff. And I have so much to say on that anyway. I've got so much to speak on with regards to that, because there's already this culture in the video games industry where, you know, as in the movie industry, you know, there's such a strong representation of an identity that has been prevalent in video games for a very long period of time in terms of even assumptions. So we look at Metroid Prime, for example, who I know a lot of people just assumed was a guy who was a male. For ages, they just thought, yeah, it's a male person for sure. But actually, you know, it turns out actually Metroid Prime is a woman, and, you know, that was that. The same with, you know, characters in video games and things like that, where the even characters who basically weren't played as male, it was kind of like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? Why are they not? And And then we get to The Last of Us, and there was this furore around the immersion of the character of Abby, and the idea that basically Abby could not be a beefcake woman because it's the apocalypse, and how could anyone possibly be? Meanwhile, there were characters in The Last of Us 1 who technically were like operating like strong military forces, were able to go out there and beat up people and, you know, carry guns and run all over the place and all this stuff. No one questioned that. No one questioned that at all. But suddenly we're introduced to a female character who's a little bit buff, and people are like, oh, this is just ridiculous. I can't believe it's so unrealistic. Because, of course, the concept of the whole storyline is completely realistic and totally possible. But we won't, you know, I'm not going to go into that discussion at all. But then there's also this whole idea of, you know, them being SJWs and them being liberal and cucks and all this really pathetic language that's being put on this game, which again, I still to this day, I'm still like, oh my God. So someone mentioned, I remember this so long ago. Someone mentioned that The Witcher 3, it was a Polish developer and it was set in medieval times. And someone had pointed out that basically in The Witcher, there was a severe lack of non-white characters in the entire game. Everyone was white. And people really got in their feelings like, well, in that time, they would have been all white. It's a white place and it's all based around a white thing and blah, blah, blah. And it was literally like, oh, well, for one, all we did was point out the fact that there were non-white people in there. That's it. I don't think there was any upset about it. Maybe it was used as an example of a reflection of representation or lack thereof in video games. And The Witcher was pointed to. That was it. So please calm your boots. But also, pretty sure that while, yes, there may have been more white people around, there were not dragons and witches doing actually casting spells and goblins and flying beasts and, you know, make-believe dungeon cave trolls and stuff like that. So the idea that part is permissible, that actual made-up things are permissible and totally fine in a video game, but you say, hey, could we just have like maybe some black people in here? Oh, that's not realistic at all. It's ridiculous. You're just like, oh, for God's sake, come on, really, guys? But this also speaks to, again, The Last of Us, where this character apparently in a post-apocalyptic world cannot possibly be buff. When actually that really doesn't speak a lot to the idea of how a person. I think that to me that speaks to actually a lack of understanding of what it takes to get buff, because they probably thought, well, there wasn't enough meat lying around, and there wasn't enough cheese and protein shakes back in that day. They didn't have 2 tons of. There wasn't 2 tons of like, oh, hi, Tors. It's you watching. What's up, dude? How's it going? Welcome. Hello. Yeah, we'll be going. I've got some stuff to show you, my man. So I can't wait to show you. I say my man. I don't know actually. So pardon me. I don't know your pronouns. Excuse me. I've assumed everything there. So apologies. But yeah, no, this is it. And then yeah, with The Last of Us, Abby, there was this complaint about, oh, you can't possibly get buff in the post-apocalyptic world. And again, you think, well, of the Mad Max, a whole video game where literally it's supposed, you don't actually there's no hunger dynamic in that game. You don't actually see anyone really eating. There's not a food thing in that game. And yet we're accepting the fact that a bunch of dudes can apparently perfectly be fine running around, all, shooting guns, driving cars, beating people up. And we accept that. We're just like, yep, totally, that's fine. We're allowed. Absolutely. But a woman turns buff in a game and people get all upset about it. And it's like, oh, okay. And it's the use of imagination, which also connects to, and I'm not going to ruin anything, by the way, Tor. So I haven't played Last of Us 2 yet, but I do know the story because I was going through forums and then someone just went and said all the things that happened and stuff. But in effect, people are upset because of a turning point in the game. And after this turning point in the game, a rather fundamental creative decision is made. And that's a really important way of putting it. A fundamental creative decision was made consciously by the developers to go, right, now this happened, we're going to make the player do this. And people are even upset about that. They're mad. Now, speaking on something I spoke on before you joined, Tor, so excuse me, in enhancing the nuance of storytelling and looking at the ways that we break away from this idea of a dynamic of simple hero and villain, and sometimes victim. So Mario, Princess Peach, and Bowser, right? Simple, that's it. And then I don't know if there is a victim in Sonic the Hedgehog, but you could just say Sonic and Dr. Robotnik. Sometimes it's Tails, right? Sometimes. You could look at games like, let me think. I mean, Grand Theft Auto, pretty much. I mean, you are kind of the hero, but actually you start off as the victim in every single game. And the villain is basically, the gang lord that lives there. And also you could argue the victims are civilians that have to live in that world that you're trashing. So we get used to this dynamic of victim, villain, and hero. And that's what's called as the drama triangle. And when you're getting into arguments, Tools, you might pick up on this. So when you see any argument, usually an argument is based on these 3 points of the drama triangle. Either someone's trying to be a hero, saving someone or protecting someone, and da-da-da. Someone's being a victim. This always happens to me. Why has this always happened to me? I can't believe this happening to me again. Da-da-da. And then the persecutor. Well, this is all your fault. You did this wrong. You're the one who's getting all blah, 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 blah. And in some facet, that's usually the 3 prongs that are picked up in a drama triangle, right? And in any disagreement, you'll see it. And they can switch. They can always switch between the 2. Well, it's your fault that this always happens to me. It's because of you. You did this. Why does this always happen to me? Right? And you're interchanging and you're and so in this story, I noticed that people are getting upset because the story's trash and stuff like that. And again, the more I dig into it, the more I'm like, well, it sounds like people are bombing this story because the designers and creators of this story made a really, really powerful decision, which I think is getting lost in people's minds as to why. Now, I haven't played the game yet, so I'm not going to assume anything because I actually don't know. But I'm looking forward to it because, again, I know the decision that they made, and I'm like, And I had a chat with someone recently about this, where they were like, well, I'm just annoyed because it would have just been better if they hadn't made the decision and they'd done it differently and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, that's fair. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinion on something. I feel it would be enjoyed more by me if it done this way. And you know what? That's fine for people to have that opinion about that. Sure. I would prefer it if, let's say, let me think, thinking of games. I think it would be better in Terraria if there was literally just a guidebook that you could open up and it would tell you all about all the things that you've discovered as you discover them. That would be really handy because honestly, having to jump on the wiki on my phone every single time I pick something up is long. That's long. Put it in the game. Put the guide in the game, or at least have it as an item you can buy after you defeat a certain enemy and it costs a certain amount of money, like 100 gold. Let's say you got 100 gold and then you can buy the guide and then you have all the information you need in the game. Like that would be fine. I'll be happy with that. But they didn't do that, and they're not going to do that. So me having that opinion is my feelings about it. I know it's not going to happen. That's it, right? Fine. Left it there. Cool. Okay. They have decided to make it that way on purpose. Games, I think people think that people make decisions in storytelling and in creative processes like, I'm just going to put a giraffe in the background because I like giraffes, right? And that does happen at times. And I remember this is actually a great example in the Star Wars films when Samuel L. Jackson was in it. I don't know Star Wars well enough, so I can't remember. I don't know what character he played. He had a purple lightsaber. Now, of course, we know there's greens, there's blues, there's reds, whites, I think, at some point. I don't know. But purple. And his was purple. That was it. His was purple. And the concept needed to be that there had to be a meaning behind these things. That was an acknowledgement of the fact that when you make a good story, every detail matters. Every single thing, every sentence that's spoken, every shot that's taken in a certain direction, every setting, every character in that scene is there for a reason. Everything in entertainment that's good, high quality, is purposefully done. It is not accidentally thrown in just like, sure, yeah, great. So storytelling is a real art form because it means that you construct a scene, you construct a dialogue, you construct something with full purpose. It serves a purpose for the story. If you have something in a story that is there, that is thrown away or completely pointless, what it does is it can confuse the audience or the consumer of said thing to wonder why that was in there. And then their attention is not on the story anymore. It's on that thing that happened that actually isn't connected to anything. So they're not even consuming the story very well. So in a creative process, every decision is made on purpose. Now, I bring up the Star Wars example because, ironically, in that one scenario, it turns out the reason that Samuel L. Jackson had a purple lightsaber was actually because he asked for one. That was it. There was no deeper meaning. There was no fundamental rule behind it. There was no, subtext. It was just because he wanted one. That was it. But that came to pass. That was literally the information that was given. That was it. We did that because he wanted it, and we didn't think there would be any, and it wouldn't hurt the law in any way. It wouldn't hurt the theories, and it actually gave room for people to think up their own theories about it. Now, this is important because as we consume stuff, there's a real selfishness that gets involved in how we consume entertainment. I would prefer if this happened. Why doesn't this happen? I'd like it more. I would like it more if this happened. Well, guess what? It didn't. It didn't happen that way. And you know why it didn't happen that way? Because you were not there for the creative process. You weren't. You weren't there. If you wanted it to happen that way, get yourself a degree, get yourself some training, go into the games industry and make it that way. This is the same with microtransactions. This drives me absolutely insane. People get mad because people put microtransactions in games, right? Now, it's building. God, it sounded like a rifle went off. What was I going to say? Oh, is this the email saying I've gone live? Nope. Still no email saying I've gone live. Tools, are you still there? You're allowed to make comments, by the way. Please share. So microtransactions in games. Now, I don't care. I could not care less if microtransactions exist in games. I don't. Even if I play a game to a point where they have gone, now you're here. Either you grind yourself to death to get past this stage, or you pay us £4.50, which is like mobile games, or you buy the full game. Now, the way that I view this, right, is actually two decisions that I see being played here, right? Oh, sick. All right, then there you go, Taurus. All right, welcome to the live, man. Welcome to education, my brother. So yes, there's two reasons that I would say microtransactions are cool. Number one, this is not reason number one. People are complaining because it's pay to win, But the problem is, and there is an area where I don't like transactions, but I'll get into that in a second. And remind me because I'll forget. Number one, technically, you usually when there's transactions in a game, usually they're free to play. Right? More often than not, they're a free-to-play game that you pay for in order to get further, right? Now, that means that actually, much like they used to do way back in the day, right, it's a demo. It's a demo. It's a lead up to the full game. Now, and this is how I've seen it because I've done this on my phone. I've downloaded free games, tried them out, and when it gets to the point where I have to pay to get that a little bit further, or I grind, I'm literally thinking to myself, has this been worth the time I've spent to spend more money to spend more time on it? Has it been worth it? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. And the developer ain't going to suffer for that because one person not buying their stuff ain't going to change the world. they're looking for the people who, of course, will buy their game. But that's why they put it out for free, so that they can get more people to play it, which means they have a better chance of people going, I really like this, I'm going to buy it. Right? Done. Fine. That's it. Settled. The other one is that, like companies need to make money. And I know that may not be the way to make money. That may not be the most ethical way to make money, but they need to make money nonetheless. And if they're going to get, it's actually a weird thing. It's like a pro bono situation. Here's the game for free, not the whole thing. Here's the game for free. If you like it, give us money and we will give you the game, like the whole thing. But there are some games where free to play means you just have to grind a lot harder. You really have to, until you're sick of it, right? And that's a decision that I rarely make. Not gonna lie. I actually did it with a mobile game. I've been grinding, and I did spend money in it, to be honest, because I actually really liked it. It was good, but it also actually what happened was it kept asking me for more money, and I was like, okay, buddy, no, because I'm actually going to end up investing more in this than I plan to, so I can't do that anymore. So I stopped, and that was the thing. I made the decision to stop, and I stopped playing it, and I was like, do you know what? I actually have played this a lot. I'm done with it. The other part of microtransactions where I'm really not that bothered with it is that if a game has microtransactions in it where it pays to win, literally, and this is so hard for people to understand. This is so hard for some people to get. That game is not for you. That's it. That game was not designed with you in mind. Something in this world was made and you were not considered as someone who does not play games that are microtransactioned. That is literally it. Not everything in this world was made with you in mind. And so the idea that a game is made with transactions in it, which are pay to win, and, we got to get crates and there's gambling, blah, blah, fine, get over it. It wasn't for you. Because believe it or not, the reason these games keep coming out is because there are a lot of people who are okay with that process. They make games for them. Not for you, not for me, not for us. They're not for us. Because I don't do that. I detest those sorts of things. But at the same time, I'm like, well, it's just not for me. It's not for me. So I'm going to leave it alone. If The Last of Us 2 came out and it happened to be a pay-to-win game, like a single-player pay-to-win game, I wouldn't play it. I don't care how good the story is. I wouldn't buy it. I'd just be like, well, I guess that's not a game for me because that's not how I play games. I like my old-school system. Buy the game, play the game, done with the game. If I want to invest more in the game, sure, I will do that. Absolutely. If I want to invest more, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, when they put add-ons on and said, hey, there's more game for you to play, oh, absolutely. Give it to me. I'll take it. Yes, thank you. Totally fine with that. But what I recognize is that basically microtransactions in these games are not for us. Where I really, really don't agree with it is where, yes, you buy the game and then literally you pay to win. That's a process I just don't agree with at all. Not happy with it. No. And there are some games where there's microtransactions, but the microtransactions are aesthetics. They have nothing to do with how good you are, how far you progress, how quickly you progress. Nothing to do with that at all. It's purely aesthetic. And I'm like, great. Because that means it's a win-win. For people who like to spend that money, they can. And for people who don't, they don't have to because it's basically the way you look. And I've never been obsessed with how my character looks in a game, really. Apart from when I'm playing The Sims, let's not mess around. So that's why that's why I'm not interested in like The Sims 4 and Sims 3 so much because there were so many add-ons. And I was like, I like this game a lot, but not that much. I'm just not. But then my little brother did. He loved them and he absolutely invested. That was a game for him. Totally fine. So it's understanding that things are not made for us and with us in mind. Now, I want to remember why I came into this. Yes, that's it. So it was about how things don't work out the way we want. So when looking at the story of The Last of Us 2 and the reasons that people trashed the story and got upset about it was simply a point of they were upset because the expectations they had of what they wanted to have happen did not. There was disappointment. That's it. They wanted the story they wanted to see, right? But the beauty about storytelling, some of my favorite films are stories that are told where things do not happen the way I want. I mentioned This Is Us, a TV show I'm watching at the moment on Amazon Prime. Beautiful story. And I'm not ashamed to share it right here as a grown man. That show makes me cry every single episode. And not sad cry. Sometimes sad cry, sometimes happy cry. It gives me both cries. I get ugly cry and even uglier cry. And it's a beautiful, beautiful show because it represents to me the kinds of relationships that I love seeing, A, on television and B, in real life. It literally reflects the kinds of relationships that I enjoy watching in real life and in relationships that I have with people. Oh, bless you. Oh, Oh, he's having a sneeze off. I'm just nervous because I swear to God, if he throws up on this carpet. You all right now? You okay? Okay, he's all right. If you're going to be sick, you go downstairs, all right? We can't do this on the carpet, my friend. Actually, no, do it on the carpet because the wood floors have holes in them. Anyway. Oh. Oh, God, I lost completely. I've lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Yes, this is us. So beautiful storytelling. But the reason I enjoy it is because it actually, there's Twigsy. Hey, Twigsy, what's up? My goodness me, what happened today? The thing I like about This Is Us is that it actually does give me what I'm not expecting. What hasn't taken place? I'm just going to keep going, Twigsy, because Tors is like really into this right now. So I'm going to keep going. But what happened in that show wasn't what I expected. Usually when you watch any kind of TV drama, you expect TV drama. You expect the full-blown drama. Everything goes wrong and da-da-da. But in this show, they do go wrong, but they also go right a lot of the time. Things will go right, and not in an unbelievable, unrealistic way. It goes well in a very possible, very connectable, very relatable way. And you're just like, oh my God, of course that would happen. Yes. And it actually challenged my own ideas of my negativity bias, wherein, the moment something starts going right in a show, you're like, well, it's about to go down now. And in This Is Us, it doesn't. It doesn't. And that's what makes me cry, is that I forget. It reminds me of the fact that actually it doesn't always end badly. Sometimes it ends really well, and we don't give enough voice to that. So I love that show. I love that show. It's my new favorite show. But again, getting what we want in a story sometimes isn't really very good storytelling, right? The hero wins and everything's fine. Okay. Actually, there's a reason that the Infinity War was so wonderful, so magnificent. But those people who obviously read the comic books and stuff, they would have known all about that. But again, it was a situation where when I watched that film, I didn't know what to expect at all, but I had that expectation because it's the Avengers, it's a superhero film, that everything would work out fine. I loved it. That's actually the first Avengers film I went to see by myself in the cinema and actually really, really paid attention to. And it was because of Infinity War that I was like, I need to watch every single Marvel film out there. I need to watch all of them now, because this was amazing. In fact, I'm tempted to watch them again because they're so good. They're so, so good. I love them. They're amazing. So again, it comes back to this idea of when we're consuming entertainment, we think we're consuming entertainment constantly, just purely be entertained. And that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes we're being challenged and we need to be challenged. And the way that we challenge ourselves is, instead of going, what was I expecting to have happen? What was I expecting to learn? What did I want from that? Instead, we ask, what was the creative director of this thing trying to communicate to me? What were they trying to say? What message were they trying to put across here? Because, as I said earlier, there are no mistakes. They did not do that by accident. There was no sudden like, oh, and then they tripped over. Ha! No. Everything happens for a reason. And there is a conscious decision behind doing it that way. There is absolutely that. And I want to speak on this because I feel as though, based on the people who complain about The Last of Us, we're talking grown men here. We're talking grown-ass men probably even my age, right? Grown-ass men kicking up a hissy fit, sending death threats to the bloody voice actor of this person. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. How pathetic do you need to be to do something like that? That is not okay. But then what I witnessed and what I experienced as I looked at it was like, these people are upset because they didn't get what they wanted. They didn't get what they expected. And they were unable to address what was trying to be conveyed, what was trying to actually be said here. They completely missed what they could learn out of this. Completely overlooked it. When you consume something, it's always good to try and understand what the artist is trying to convey to you, as well as what you're getting out of it. Of course, don't ignore what you're feeling. If you're feeling, for example, if you're feeling that the show is boring and terrible and stuff like that, okay, fine. And by the way, the other point about this is that this again, I'm trying really hard not to spoil it, but in The Last of Us, this thing is what sounds to be the tiniest percentage of an event in the entire game. It's an astronomical event, but it's a tiny, tiny moment in the entire game. People are throwing the whole game away because of one tiny little piece of it. They're throwing the whole damn thing away. And it's just like, oh my God, how emotionally immature do you need to be? I'll never forget when I was 12 years old. This is about 19. Actually, I can't tell you that. 12 years old. 1900s. I was 12. And, and, I was playing Final Fantasy 7. And, I don't even want to ruin this for you either, because you might play this. I'll tell you this way. Again, really excited about this game. Really hyped up to it. I'm really excited. It's the first game that I ever followed the story of. First game I ever looked up before it came out. First game I looked at the artwork and read into it. I read magazines and stuff. I didn't realize it at the time, but I looked back and I was like, I was obsessed with that game before it even came out. This is on PS1, right? I was obsessed before it even came out. So the game comes out. Me and my brother are playing it, and I'm loving it. And I'm like, oh my God. I even remember holding it and going out to my mum and dad and being like, we own the best game on the PS1. And they were like, don't care. And I was like, And yeah, we're playing it, and I loved it. And there were characters in it. They had a sense of humor. The graphics looked amazing for its time. And there's a story behind it. I got involved in the story behind it. First time again I ever got involved in a story in a video game. I was in a cloud nine just the whole time. Like, this is amazing. Look at that sword. Oh my God, that magic looks so cool. My God, those enemies are so tough. Da, da, da. I was getting into it. And then, boom, for the first time ever in my life, playing video games, again, way back when on the Super Nintendo, the Master System, never mind the Super Nintendo system, the Master System, which is actually Sega. Sorry, what was the one before the SNES? Was just the Nintendo Entertainment System. Maybe it was the NES, just this one before that. The Mega Drive, all that stuff, right? Streets of Rage 2, Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2. I even remember going before that when there was, I think it was the Spectrum, it was called, and there was a game called Jumping Jack, the most basic thing you ever saw. Playing games since then, really just gaming as much as I could all the time. The first time ever in my life at 12 years old, I witnessed a character that I was close to die. And you know what? They didn't just die like a big that was the worst part. They didn't even drag it out. It wasn't like they warmed you up to it, and there was no foreboding whatsoever, no warning, no nothing. There's a cut, like literally you go somewhere, you meet someone, you talk to that person, cutscene, person appears, bang, dead. Cried. 12 years old, cried. Didn't want to go on holiday. My grandparents had come around because we were going to go on holiday together. Didn't want to go. Cried. Bawled. Not happy at all. And not only that, this is the worst part. After the character dies, you have to do a boss fight. You're completely unprepared for the whole damn thing. Meanwhile, they're playing the boss fight and they're playing the music of the character. They're playing the music of the character that's just been popped. And you're just like, did I write the whole game off? No. Best game ever. Best game ever. Best game ever. Best game ever. The best experience of a video game I've ever had in my life was when I was 12 years old. Never, nothing ever could top that. I played God of War 1 through to 4. I loved that game completely. Fell in love with it. Loved Kratos. Amazing. Still not the best game ever. Final Fantasy 7. Best game ever. PS1, baby. You can't top it. It was brilliant in terms of the way I experienced that game. Dark Souls. I played Dark Souls 1. I played Demon Souls. I played Dark Souls 2. Scholar of the First Sin. I played Dark Souls 3 and the add-ons. I played Bloodborne. Did it. Loved it. Dark Souls became my bae. It was my whole thing. It was my life. Final Fantasy 7. Best game ever. Ever. Oh my God. It's so good. So yeah, I didn't throw it out. I still loved it, even though it didn't go the way I wanted it to, even though it completely shattered my expectations. Oh, you think everyone's going to come out of this alive? You think I'm just going to let everyone come out of this alive? You think you're just going to win the game and not make a single damn sacrifice? No, pap. No, it's not. No, they didn't let it happen. Just snatched them right out of my, and the thing is, you invest in that character. You level them up. You give them weapons. You have relationships with. You use them. You play as them. You do the whole thing, and then suddenly just whoop. Nope. Sorry, not going to happen. I'm 12. I don't know how to handle damn loss of life. What the hell are you doing? Amazing. Best game ever. But then again, this is it. So I then come back to the way that we consume things, the way that we handle things. Hello, Sam. Why is everyone late today, man? What's going on with you? What's happening? What is this? You're just rocking up here at 10 to 1. Come on. And by the way, I'm still going to come off in 10 minutes because I said I was going to do Terraria at 1 o'clock. Meanwhile, by the way, I got something to tell y'all. I got something to show you. I'm going to have to show it to you. But I'm still coming off at 1 because I said an hour, right? And I was live at 12 p.m. But no one showed up. To the point you can go back and watch it. It's the saddest thing in the world. I was live, Dan's Then Live, number 71. This is 71 and a half. Because I went live. I was live for 10, 12 minutes. No one showed up, and I got paranoid as hell. I was actually sat here like, is it the right channel? Is it the right time? What day is it? I was literally asking myself what day it was because no one showed up for 12 minutes. Not one of you. And I was like, I actually stopped the pod. I stopped it because I thought something was wrong with the stream. I stopped streaming because I thought there was something wrong with the stream because none of you showed up. You'll upset me with this. Upset. No, I don't. Well, you can't, mate. You can't be lying in your bed all cozy saying sorry. No one does that. No one is sorry for staying in a cozy bed. I'm kind of half forgiving you because Twigsy's absolutely right. It's a mood. That's a mood. 100%. Also, I can't be mad at you, Tors, for sustaining yourself. And Twigsy, I just can't be mad at you because you've got baby ducks. So I can't be mad at any of you. I'm just mad, all right? I'm not mad at you. I'm just mad. Let me be mad. Is that okay? Let me be mad. I'm not mad at you. Ducks, cozy bed, you know, all this stuff. Like, fine. I get it. But let me be mad. Please. I freaked out. I was like, is it a Tuesday? What's going on? When did Sunday come around? Why am I here? Should I just come offline? You know? But nah, ducks, cozy beds, and lunches. That sounds like a good time. So I'm just mad. Not mad at you. I'm just mad. Okay? That's all it is. So, yes. So what I guess the ultimate lesson of everything that I've said on this episode really is, and it's going to sound really random now, Sam and Twigsy. Well, Twigsy less so, but Sam definitely, because literally you just showed up. Is we've got to really question when we are being entertained. It's really important for us if we're going to understand, emotional maturity, emotional agility, emotional stories, people in storytelling. What is important for us to do is acknowledge how we feel about something, but then also investigate what the artist is also trying to convey. Not to say that it's going to be different from how we feel, but it's just important to look at. Because otherwise what happens is we write some very, very good storytelling off, which could actually be life-changing for us personally, because we are not seeing what we want to see in it. And it allows us to open our minds up to, of course, again, other perspectives, other narratives, other people. If we're instead going, I wonder what the artist meant by this. I wonder why they made that decision. I wonder what they were trying to get us to do. And again, this is connected to The Last of Us 2. I haven't spoiled anything, but it is to ask that question. What have they tried to communicate to me? And I'm looking forward to licking into it. I'm looking forward to experiencing what they've done, like in terms of how they go about the narrative, what specifically is going to be said. It's like the all of the stuff, so that I can actually investigate what were they trying to convey to me by doing this. That's what I'm looking forward to. So yeah. You spent so long trying to wash the stink of duck poop off your hands. I mean, yeah, living with ducks, right? That's gonna be it, really. That's what it is. You're gonna have to deal with some duck poop. That's really what it is. That's what it is. Yes, sir. Yeah. There we go. Because actually, this is So actually, Tors, what do you do? What like Sam makes music, Twigsy makes music / animation / YouTube channel. Yeah. What's your thing, Tors? I don't actually know a lot about you, so pardon me. I don't know how. What's your thing? It is what it is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I realize, yeah, I don't know enough about you, Tours, and it's not, I'm trying to be your best friend like that, but otherwise it's very difficult for me to relate to you. Oh, sick. Okay, editor is a video editor. You mean you're trying to get into video effects? That's cool, man. Or virtual effects. Wait, VFX, video or virtual? Hang on, I Google it real quick. Visual effects, brilliant, both of them. All of them, Dan. Yeah, yes. Is that video or virtual? Yes. Okay, thanks. No, that's cool. Okay, then. Okay. So then in all of the things that you guys do, this is it. In all the things that you guys do, and indeed in all the stuff that I do that's even slightly creative, when I was on my YouTube channel, right? Oh, sick. Nicely done, man. Amazing. Okay, cool. That's awesome. That is awesome. So when all of us are creating things, we'll have an idea of what we are trying to create, what we're trying to do, right? We have that idea of what we're trying to convey. And I think one of the tougher parts of being creative is deciding whether or not we go, I want to convey this, and I want the audience to see this. Those can, again, be very, very different things. They could be hard because you're trying to read the audience's mind effectively. You're basically running an idea of what you think the society wants to see, and then it's conveying that message in a very good way, as opposed to just like spoon feeding it, right? And actually we did this because we talked about this in music, right? A musician or artist can put a song out, and either we hear what we want to hear in the music, or we hear what they want to say in the music. And sometimes they can be two things. I know that I do this. I know that I see a lot of what I want to see in certain things, but I have to watch it again to see what the artist is actually trying to say, because otherwise we can get it mixed up. This is another reason why, after many, many years, I wrote off Eminem, because I was hearing what I wanted to hear and not listening to what he was actually trying to say. So when I started listening to it again, I was like, oh, that's what he's trying to say. Nah, no. Thank you. I'm done. Thank you. Please, I'm good. I don't have any money. No spare change. Go away. Like, nah. So, so yeah, it's exactly the same thing. What are they trying to say? What's the story of this thing? And I do think it's important, because if we're creatives, then we want to be aware that the way that we put something out there, we've got to hold fast, and either this is the message I want to convey, accept other people's interpretations of it, of course, and be like, oh, you saw that, cool, you saw that, okay, great, but ultimately this is why I made it, and I'm glad that you were able to get some perspective out of it as well. But we have to do that too. We have to kind of acknowledge that they created it with something in mind. Really important. Again, there's a whole conversation we could have about masculinity and emotional immaturity as well, because that's important with regards to the fact that so many young men play video games and stuff like that, and they call it escapism. Because the other funny part about the whole Last of Us thing before it came out was, they were lesbians. In fact, well, Ellie was a lesbian. That was it, right? That was it. There was assumption that Abby is a trans person. She's not. There was nothing was said about that. It's purely because Abby was beefcake that they just assumed that it was a man, which again is like sexist and transphobic all at the same time. It's like, guys, how are you messing this up so astronomically right now? How are you getting this so wrong? But the fact that they honestly, I despair. The fact that people are like, oh, we don't want politics in our video games. Please, not putting politics in our video games. And again, it was the awareness of there's politics. There's literally politics in all video games. You can't really play a video game without seeing some form of political standing in there. And politics doesn't necessarily mean it's about leadership. Again, I know I've talked about this, but again, I'm coming back to it because it's this fact that people could argue, oh, I don't want black and brown people in my game. It was Poland. It was that was true of the time, and dragons were true of the time. Really? Okay, then. Thanks very much. Sure. Then you've got things like, what was it? I don't want politics in my game. Most of these dudes probably play Call of Duty, Battlefield, any war game, Wolfenstein, any war game. And interesting enough, guess what? That whole story is surrounded by politics. Oh, the government and the politics. So the argument's null and void, and obviously what they really mean is they don't want underrepresented identities in their video games. They want to see themselves in a game, right? As if they haven't got enough of that already. Like apparently video games don't have enough straight white dudes chilling out shooting people in video games. Apparently there's not enough, guys. We need more. Meanwhile, looking for trans people, looking for lesbians, looking for gay people. One and the same, excuse me. Looking for non-binary people. Help me out. I think you could count like black protagonists in video games on maybe one hand, probably more. I haven't played enough video games, but yeah, and women protagonists. So I'm just like, if you want to see, yourself represented in a game, go buy the games where you're represented. No one's complaining about it. It's cool. Again, it comes back to this thing of what I said earlier, Tors, when you were here, of this thing of like, if you don't like the way something was made, well, then guess what? It wasn't made badly. It just wasn't made with you in mind. That's literally it. If you think it was made badly, unless literally it is actually fundamentally at the core element of it, a bad product, that's different. That's different. But if it's something that's actually of good quality, that's put together and you don't like it, that means it wasn't made with you in mind. Sucks, bro. Shit sucks, bro. But it was not made with you in mind. Call of Duty was not made with me in mind. No sorry, Bob. The sand biome in Terraria was not made with me in mind. No sorry, Bob. I'm still having problems with it, guys. Still upsets me to this day. I say I have problems. It's just annoying. That's all. But I actually have less problems. But yeah. Yeah. Just wasn't made with me in mind. Sucks, right? And this is the funny thing. It hurts a little bit for people to feel invisible, like they don't see themselves in a video game, right? Oh, you play 6 now? Go on, Twigsy. Get him. Name him for us right here. We can get upset about not seeing ourselves in video games, but guess who hasn't seen themselves in video games enough? Nearly a lot of people who aren't straight, white, and male. You don't see that a lot. And actually, the only thing that really helps is where you have games where you can make your own character. That's a winner. That means you can make any character you want, right? Literally any character. What game was it now? Was it Cyberpunk, where they had male or female options? And this was hilarious as well. Male or female options, right? And then non-binary people stood up and went, yo, what if we just don't want to be either? What do we do then? What if we don't want either? And do you know what they did? And this was phenomenal. This was absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Do you know what they did? They took the option out. That's it. Ta-da! There you don't have to pick. You can make literally, and it's funny because it's such an easy thing to do. If you're creating a character where you can change the eyes, change the eyebrows, change the face structure, change the chin, the nose, the mouth, then actually, why do you need a gender? Why a sex even? Sorry, why do you need to pick a sex? So what? So you can put boobs on them? Fine, we'll be able to change the boobs. Cool. That way, you can be a completely anything person. You'll still fundamentally be human, but you can be whatever human you like. And therefore, it's not constricted down to a binary. So easy. So easy. And you know what happened? People got mad. People got upset because they removed the option. It's not like they couldn't pick male or female anymore. They just got upset at the fact that literally non-binary people were being acknowledged. It's like, yo, you can still play the same game you always wanted. Nothing has fundamentally changed in how you view that game. All that happened was they took an option out. That was it. But that option is still available to you. You can still be male if you want to. No one's arguing with you on that. Everything's fine. Calm down. Put your pants back on. But they got mad at it. And it's such an easy thing to do. Just take it out. Just take it out. Namely, when you've got character creation pages. Literally, if you can fundamentally change the look, like height, shorter width, and all that stuff, then why the hell do you need that in there? Wait, so they could quickly slap a pair of breasts on you? And I'm not going to say dick because there's never that never. You don't. I don't know. I've not been checking actually. Not because I don't feel the need to, because I don't know if it ever really happens. But I've not gone male to female and watched if the bulge flips in and out. But apparently in Cyberpunk, doesn't matter anyway because you can literally edit your penis anyway. So straightforward. So straightforward. So, yeah. People just need to chill. Need to chill. Chill. My God. Sometimes stuff is not made for you, and that's okay. Just enjoy all the things that are. That's going to be the headline of this whole life. Sometimes stuff is not made with you in mind, and that's okay. Just look for things that are. Ta-da! On that note, it's 2 minutes past 1, so I'm late for my PlayStation stream, isn't it? It's dangerous, man. I'm going to turn it on now. There we go. So we're going to go. What I'm going to do, first of all, I'm actually going to show you what I've done in my other level before I jump back to tours. I'm going to show you what I've done with my Dan character. I am so proud of myself. So proud. You'll be proud of me. You'll be really proud of me. You're proud of me. But I'm going to see you on the stream in just a moment, and I'm looking forward to it. And we'll take tours to a whole new level on Terraria, see what's going on. Until then, though, thank you very much for being part of this live. Let's also remember, not part of the peak. And, of course, 5 minutes. That's fine. It might take 5 minutes for me to get there, so that's all good. Don't worry, Sam. Oh, there's the comment. So the judge... House of Gold, I'm Not Famous, Empty Bed, Cape Town Truth. Nice. All right. Good stuff. Man, people, you all love 21 Pilots in here. It's like a little 21 Pilots fan base we got in here. I love it. I love it. But I will see you all in a couple of minutes. All right. Thank you very much for being part of the live. Even though, you know, thanks for coming. I'm not going to say it. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not mad anymore. I refuse to be mad anymore. It's not fair on you. It's not fair on me. Let's just not be mad. But I'll see you very soon. Okay. Ta-ta for now. Bye-bye.